Hi Stampin' friends, it's Chris Slogar from BuckeyeInklings.com, and today I want to show you how to make this Halloween treat. I'm calling it a treat caddy because it reminds me of a tool caddy with these kind of characteristic high ends and then just the flat bar as a handle. So really cute, and I'll give you some other ideas of what you can use for the bar and some other ways to extend this box. But this box is simply an extension of this little treat box favor that comes in a die set in our mini catalog. It coordinates with the stamp set Little Treats, and I've used those too. Let me show you that. So there are a lot of cute greetings for all occasions in the stamp set, and some great dies too, like the spider and the diamond ring. I think those are real keepers. Plus, of course, you know, the tags and the treat boxes. So let's talk about this die. If you were cutting this out of designer paper, like we did for this 3/4 inch wide version, you could use a 6-inch square because you could put the die down this way and make that work. If you're cutting this die out of cardstock, like we will to make this box, or for instance in this version the base is cardstock, you would probably want a 5.5-inch wide piece of cardstock because that is half a sheet of paper, right? So that's a really handy dimension. And here I have it in black. I have the black cardstock that we need to make this one. I have a piece of cardstock that's 5.5 by 8.5. Okay, so that is a half sheet of cardstock. And typically, if you were just cutting this shape, you would only need 7 inches of that length. But we are going to extend this box 1.5 inches and use this full width. So let me just show you how to cut that. I've got the edges lined up with the edges of the cardstock here at 5.5 inches, and then the end of the die at the end of the cardstock. Okay, and I'm going to cut just half of the die shape. Okay, so this is the portion that we're extending. We're going to add 1.5 inches here and bring this end all the way to the end of the paper. Okay, so let me just show you that. It's easier to see it than to talk about it. Okay, so we've got half of the shape cut here, and I'm just going to turn that paper around and do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so these actually are not meeting. These shapes are not meeting, but they are going to line up because we're using the edge of the paper as a guide, and we're putting that die down again with the 5.5 inches lined up with the edges of the die, and the end of the die at the end of the cardstock. And then again, only cutting, so we're only applying pressure with the plate to the halfway point on this die. Okay, so there we have a mostly cut box. So there's our 1.5 inches that we added in. And I'm just going to take my paper snips because obviously we didn't cut that section, and connect the cut line across that width there. And then we're going to create that box just the same way we would with any of the ordinary, you know, the original shape boxes. I'm just gonna get those chads out of the scallop. Okay, and then I'm gonna score along all of those, or burnish along all the score lines. Now, when you go to burnish this side, it's going to want to fold at this smallest dimension here. The score line actually has not been pressed all the way across, right? Because that was our 1.5 inches additional in that section. So we're going to have to force that crease where we want it. It's not scored all the way, but it goes in quite easily. Okay, and then you're putting this together with the tabs in the slot just the same way as if you were making, you know, this version that's thinner. Okay, but in this case, I'm going to add adhesive so that my box sides stay attached. So let me just put a little bit of my Seal Plus here to create my box sides. I want those to remain standing up. And then for my handle, I just got paper straws at the party store, and I'm going to cut one down to 3 inches. Okay. And if I bend the straw in a little bit, I'll just take my pierce tool here, kind of round that back out so it looks nice and neat. Now, this is too big for the holes here, and that's fine. I've got my retired 1/4 inch hole punch, and I'm just going to create a bigger hole right in that same area so that I can get the straw in there. And this straw will be tight in that hole, but that's perfect because then it's not going to go anywhere. You really don't need to glue it or, you know, do anything to make it stay because it's a little tight. It barely fits that hole. Okay, so that's good. So there we have our little tool caddy shape, which is now a treat caddy. And all I'm going to do is decorate it. I've got a piece of the Magic in the Night designer paper. This is the spidery one. I don't think it has a right or wrong side. I am going to put some adhesive down the length of it. Okay, that's my regular seal. And then I'm just going to start attaching this in the middle, the front middle, and press it down. And then kind of finger crease the edges, the sides. Keep a nice straight or even margin along the bottom of the box so that when you get to the back, hopefully, if you do it, you know, relatively carefully. Okay, if I'm getting a little too much margin there, I'm gonna force it. So that this is nice and neat, so that my pieces can meet in the back. Okay, so there I've got my tool caddy. Now I pre-made my little tag here. This is the Happy Halloween stamp, and these dies are all from that same bundle. And I've just got the pieces kind of layered up with the spider, and then some of these great iridescent pearls. Really fun for Halloween. I'm going to put that on the front of my treat caddy. And then I also have black shreddy from the party store. So you can find this in all, you know, colors, and you know, you'll fill that as you like. And let me get on to some of the other ones because you can finish adding things and decorating as you like. I just added a little knot of this metallic mesh ribbon and then the candy to make that one. Now let me show you a couple of the other ideas and other handle ideas. Okay, so we've got that one with the paper straw, and then I made one for kind of like fall with the Gilded Autumn paper, and then also at the party store, there were these paper drink stirrers. They're kind of like little straws, but they're skinnier for stirring. Okay, so I did that, and those fit the hole without punching it larger. Okay, so I thought that was a pretty good look. My next one is a Christmas version with Trimming the Town designer paper. And what I've got here is, I don't know if you recognize this. You've seen these before, I'm sure. these treat sticks that are in the cake and candy aisle. What I did is I just took one, and you can dye these really dark in whatever color you like. So here, this one was Poppy Parade. I just rolled this on the pad, and look at how beautiful and sharp that color is. Okay, and you can do the ends too. Okay, so what I had to do then, I let that dry. Let me see if I have a dry one here. I thought I did. I threw away a blue one that I didn't need. Okay, so pretend we need the blue one. That's a Misty Moonlight version, and we need to cut it, right? So I use, you need something really strong. This is, I believe, a 3-inch length as well, yes. I've used, this is an old button shank remover, and I'm just going to cut right into that there. You just need something strong to pinch that apart, and that piece goes flying, okay? And then just kind of try to round that out. If it's rough on the end, which is bound to be, I just use my sanding block to kind of smooth that out. And then dip that end in ink, and it'll look just like the other one. Okay, so that'll give you your 3-inch length. Now, another thing I did, by the way, these take a little time to dry. The paper's a little bit shiny, takes a little longer to dry than you might think. So watch that. Okay, another version of this box I made, also with that same, let me move these out of the way, also with that same treat stick. This time I just sponged it, so it's not as sharp a color, it's not as solid a color as I got here with the Poppy, or like I had here. This is the one that was rolled in Misty Moonlight, and this one I just sponged, okay, just to get the idea of that color. That looks fine too. Okay, this box is actually longer. I added an extra 1 1/4 inch to the length of this box. So this section is 3.5 inches long, where in any of these versions that I just showed you, this box is 2 1/4 inches long. Okay, so what's different? The Misty Moonlight paper that I started with, the cardstock, was 5.5 by 9 3/4 inches long. Okay, and then I cut it the same way, going for the full length, you know, putting this at one end and cutting halfway, putting this at one end and cutting halfway, and then connecting the cuts in the middle. Okay, so same idea to get a slightly longer box, okay? So you can kind of play with that. I like this one a lot because it fit my 4-inch stick. And I don't know, it just seemed like a good size. I've got like these cookies in here. You can have a gift card. I've got the little Ghirardellis. When I went longer and I tried a version that started with 11-inch long paper, I kind of feel like this one looks too long. Okay, but it does fit my stir stick nicely. But anyway, you can play with the length. Have fun with those dies. That's kind of like, you know, one of our standard tricks to try to elongate the shapes of dies that we use. So works really well with these treat box dies. If you need any of these products, I could use your help in my online store. Go over to buckeyeinklings.com. This month, if you're shopping in September, this is 2020, I've got the free wonderful gems for you. I'll send you a package of these, a full package, with a $35 purchase in September, okay? So, again, visit me at buckeyeinklings.com. There's shopping there. There's a lot more ideas, and I'd love to have your business. Thanks so much.